Good morning, everyone. Brian here with BMK Magic Explorations. I figure that this video has been coming for a bit, and I thought about doing it as a first one, but as it goes, I just had some other things come up, such as the Sabbats, festivals, and holidays, and figured I should go ahead and cover those. And as I'd said originally, this is always going to be kind of intermittent content. I'm not on a really strict schedule here. But I got to thinking about, and actually have been off and on from the beginning, when it comes to magic, both with just the C, which we could fairly refer to as stage magic is common, or as I do sometimes performance magic, or I've even considered using a term which I don't think is used much anywhere else, but mundane magic, since there's really nothing supernatural about it. And then also magic with the K, the supernatural magic. We should be defining what these two are supposed to be, and a little bit about what's known of where they might have come from. I mean, seriously, if the channel is going to be discussing these types of subjects, that's kind of one of those things that needs to be laid down, as you know, to have it, if not a very good understanding, at least a fair idea. So, magic with the C, stage magic, illusion, performance magic, or mundane magic. What it is basically a performance art. It has many different aspects, and, well, professionals in it, there are many amateurs too, actually train and learn from apprenticing from others, and it is a valid and good profession. Again, there's nothing really supernatural about it. Well, not typically. And basically, there's an understanding between the magician and the audience that what they are seeing is basically an effect, a trick. Whereas back in the day, older, probably one of the ways it got start, was maybe branching off from supernatural magic, realizing, hey, I can make people think that this is the real deal for various purposes, and say like making money, it was started as what you would call a confidence trick, like one of the earliest examples commonly cited is the common shell game, where you have shells or cups, which are, like, say, 3 of them, and there's a pea or something underneath them, and they move them around, and you're supposed to try and keep track of them with your eyes to figure out which one the ball or pea is going to be under. And usually it is basically a confidence trick because, well, it's one of the sources of the old saying, the hand is quicker than the eye. You may be very, very quick-eyed, and you may be able to keep track enough to win a round or so and not lose your money on it, but keep playing long enough, he's going to be fast enough. I mean, your hands can move a lot faster than most people's eyes can constantly track, especially if you're very well trained and skilled and talented to do so. In that case, it was a confidence trick. But these days, like I said, magicians and their audience have a kind of unspoken agreement that it's known that what you're seeing is not real supernatural magic. It's just being done for the purpose of entertaining the audience. So the audience is expected to suspend their disbelief and just accept that they may not know how the magician was able to produce that effect or the effects for every particular part of the performance, but they're still supposed to be entertained. I mean, it's understandable some are going to sit there and still wonder how it was done, but at least you're not sitting there wondering, wait, what sort of devilish or whatever other supernatural type powers is he using? Should I be afraid of this person? No. It actually consists of a lot of different elements. I will not go over them all here. That's probably better to go into more deep dive in another video, but a few examples are pretty simple. There is what we would know of as the basic production, which is getting something to appear apparently out of nowhere. And who hasn't seen your grandfather pull that one on you? And then there's what we would call a basic vanish, which is where something appears to just disappear and you have no idea where it went. And if he's doing it right, or the magician is doing it right, they're going to be doing it quick enough that you're not going to see how. With that one right there, you could probably see a little bit on camera. It's as simple as after I cup my hands back together. Well, I did that wrong that time. Supposed to do is you're supposed to simply drop it there. If you weren't watching and had a quick eye, with my hands turned the way they were, you wouldn't have seen it just dropped into my lap, which, to keep the noise from actually giving it away, I had a soft kitchen towel so that it will hit something that will not have a resonating noise. That's another thing about this channel. Although, you know, they say, oh, a good stage magician doesn't give away their secrets. Well, there's some, like, say, the masked magician, others who have, and, you know, I have no problem with explaining how it works. After all, I'm doing this, these videos on this channel to inform and make a point, and to share a love of both types of magic. So there's no reason why I shouldn't explain at least how the effects work. And again, the effect is often also called a trick, which most magicians would find to be not to their liking, because yes, it's an effect. There are other, you know, forms of, like I was saying, you know, categories in there, such as the escape artist. Think Harry Houdini, again. He was a master at getting himself locked into something or other, or where you'd think there'd be no way for any normal person to get out of it. And then given just a little time, sure enough, he's not trapped in whatever situation or place he's not supposed to be able to get out of. And that's an actually very impressive effect. There are some others which are a bit more strange and all, like say Criss Angel. Ooh, I could tell you that there are many who I know of who sometimes wonder if he doesn't just use stage magic, but also may have some supernatural magic behind him. Yes, I'm in that group. He's pulled off some pretty impressive feats, which even I can't explain. I know how most of them generally work. Not everything, but a lot. Believe me, with stage magic, it's really the type of, I wouldn't say it's quite as encompassing or covers such a wide range of things overall as, say, supernatural magic does. But it certainly, there have been and created many different effects and ways to perform them over time, and new ones and new ways to do it are still being come up with. People are still inventing and innovating them to this day. So it's pretty wide ranging. But one thing that I know of, you know, among others, that Criss Angel had done once before. I kind of do know how this one works, but I'm not sure how he did it with this. In this case, you see, he was sitting in a restaurant. It's actually on his Criss Angel Mind Freak show. I forget, season 1 or season 2. I used to have it on DVD. And his guest, the person who he's interacting with, has a normal glass of water sitting on the table. And Criss basically asked him if he's a drinker, you know. Well, it's been a while since I've seen it, I don't remember exactly. But basically, it came up, he brought up how, a reason for why, you know, to see if this guy, you know, liked alcohol, whatever, you know. And so, when the man said, oh yeah, I have a drink from now and then. So, Criss basically takes a simple cloth, kind of like this, you know, but, you know, I think it was a black cloth or something, and covers the glass. Apparently, I think it was, he just tapped it like to the side a couple times or so, and then from the top, and then removes the cloth from it, and it's been transformed from This is what we would call a transformation or transfiguration effect. From a regular glass of water into a beer, which the man told him, yeah, it has the same taste, smell, everything as a real beer. And later on, it was even I was informed it was later on even tested, showed it would have the same alcohol content as most standard lager or light beers, somewhere in there. And really, I can't tell you exactly how he did that one. I know there are ways to do it, but with that cloth and slipping in a powder or anything like that, something that would actually change the content and add the alcohol content to make it into a beer and all, go figure. I mean, it kind of could remind somebody of a simpler version of Jesus Christ in the Bible, changing all that water into wine. This is kind of like a similar effect on a smaller scale. Though in this case it was merely an effect, for entertainment purposes, but I still couldn't tell you how Chris Angel did it no more than I could tell you how Jesus Christ did it with turning water to wine. At least not in how Angel did in this particular case. So anyway, it's pretty wide-ranging. There's quite a few, like I was kind of getting to a point on, there's quite a few more nuances and different types of effects than that. Most do keep the secrets to how it's done, at least in their case, pretty well secretive. Usually only revealed to others who are in the business, or like myself, an amateur busker or such, who dabbles some, that's okay usually. But other than that, it's kind of kept more secret in a way so that, it doesn't ruin it for everybody who doesn't know how it works already. Though there are books, home media like DVDs, Blu-rays, and all that will teach you, and lessons online and such, still, you're not going to usually get a magician to reveal to somebody not already in the fold of the business, you could ask them all you want, and they're usually not going to tell you. You'll usually get a response more like, well, it's just magic, or, a good magician never reveals his secrets. It's just an old tradition, and there is some use behind it. And as far as the history of it all goes, like I was talking about, like with the shell game and all, I guess it's not quite very well known exactly when it began and all, and probably did branch off from, people realizing, they could take a cue from supernatural magic and basically fake it till they make it, whether to make money or for some other reason and all, and that probably started back as well in ancient times or somewhere in prehistoric times, whenever, and it's probably been around just as long or close enough to it. So it's pretty ambiguous as to when the start was, but it's an art form about as old as people are, so to speak. And on that note, about as old as supernatural magic is, which supernatural magic, on the other hand, is basically the one with the K behind it. I'm not sure if he was the first, but Aleister Crowley, the great Beast 666, which he really wasn't as bad as he gets a reputation for. He just relished, and it's for him, it's kind of like a form of self-promotion. If they're gonna look at me that way, why should I tell them anything different? At least it gets more attention to what I'm doing and trying to do so. It was a simple form of self-promotion to me. But anyway, he was one of those who decided to start spelling it with the K added, so it would be differentiated as donating supernatural magic instead of stage magic, which was just a simple change, but one which has been adopted by most others and has endured to this day. And again, I'm not sure if he was absolutely the very first who decided to do that. I think there may have been one or two predecessors, but just don't get as much attention for them doing it. And anyway, that's one of the that's one of the small changes made there. And the difference with supernatural magic is that it's basically supernatural. Not always strictly, but as it goes, a simple definition, which kind of came from Crowley and others, some before him, some after, would be what is the ability to manipulate energy, well, whether natural or supernatural, in various ways to affect change in accordance with one's will. Or he more simply put, it's the ability to affect reality through one's willpower. Now, how can this, it can also be said to have a metaphysical and physical side to it, in terms of physics and metaphysics all go into how things work to a degree, and can, for the most part, be explained in many cases, though there's much which is still mysterious. Let me put it to you this way. When you do a working in terms of supernatural magic, I know from experience, I've seen and done plenty that you'd have to do it yourself or see it to believe it. But as it goes, one of the things about it is basically not really... It's basically a tool that probably goes back, as far as we know, to prehistoric times, where people first started realizing and experimenting with ways in which they could affect change for the betterment of themselves and for other reasons, whatever, and start experimenting with ways that they could find to do so. Whereas, mythology-wise, folklore and legend-wise, say the ancient goddess or Hecate, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, or say the great Greek Hermes Transgressus, I'm not sure how you pronounce that, the last part, basically handed down and taught it to normal human people. In other words, someone or something, like a form of deity is where it came from. Whereas, like I said, it probably was just as simple, otherwise, beyond that, as people realizing there are various ways to affect change if you just experiment and figure out how. Which, that's kind of, there are ways to do this where you don't have to use or wouldn't be using supernatural magic. If you just go about your day looking to have a positive life and positive outlook, you'd be surprised how much positivity will come your way, just be attracted to you. Just the same thing if you want to go around being negative and being a jerk, you're going to get more negativity back. That's kind of one of the concepts, a simple concept of karma or karmic justice at work is that like attracts like. That's even a scientific principle if you're talking about something like magnetism too, But anyway, it's basically the ability to affect change. Now, various ways of doing this have been come up with. There are spells and chants. There are potions, which, quite frankly, as a meme that I haven't shared yet, but I've seen some others. If you think about it, even a simple soup can be a form of potion because you can put ingredients in which are meant to have certain effects or enhance your health in certain ways. Sure, you're using natural ingredients, but you're still affecting change within yourself, within your own body, through what you're consuming, just like any potion is supposed to do. That's what a potion is. And yes, it can be seen as supernatural in a way, but there's also, the supernatural type of magic, where you are appealing to or seeking the aid of various deities or otherworldly or spiritual forces. And there's such a wide range. And again, just like with the mundane stage magic, and I'm not going to go into it all. We'll save it for another more deep dive video, or at least somewhere I go into those topics more individually on both counts. But basically, it's very wide-ranging, and supernatural magic probably dates back again, probably as old as people, or close enough to it. And I was having a conversation with a friend of mine over from my BMK Retro Gaming channel, friends and all, who And he had told me, ooh, he'd be happy to check out the new channel and all, but he'd probably be much more interested in the mundane stage magic as opposed to the more supernatural magic, which I said that's fine. It's going to have content for both off and on. And I kind of had tried to explain to him that supernatural magic is often attached to one religious or spiritual belief system or other, but I kind of forgot to mention to him that it's not necessarily, since it's a tool basically, which sometimes does and sometimes doesn't work. Sometimes it works in ways where you do get results, but they're not quite the results you were expecting. It can be a bit tricky, so to speak. Well, that's basically what supernatural magic is. It's a pretty much tool that people came up with or were handed down to them one way or another, all the way somewhere back in prehistoric times, it may be believed, and have been using since. And although it has had attachments to various belief systems, and many do have like say, in both the past paleo-paganism and the current neo-paganism and all, yeah, a lot of those systems do include magic as a big part, and its practice is a big part of their belief system. But it itself, magic in terms of supernatural magic, is merely a tool. It's not a belief system in and of itself. So anyway, that's kind of a couple of overviews of what both types of magic are, and at least a little bit of known of what may be known of what's known of where they might have come from, which a lot of it's just about as much speculative. As I was trying to point out, in both cases, where they actually began or came from is not 100% clear. But again, both stage magic and supernatural magic are what this channel is about. And both are actually wonderful systems and tools to work with for various purposes. And I guess you could say, it's one of those things it's two of those things really, I guess you could say, that can make life more interesting. In the case of supernatural magic, whether for yourself personally, you attach it to your own personal belief system or not. Me, kind of, in many ways, but also I enjoy learning everything I can about both types of magics and learning more. I guarantee you, in either case or not, you can spend your entire lifetime and still never learn it all. So it's a great way to continue to enrich life and have something else to be into. And for myself, it's a fairly core part of who I am and what I do. Though I do have numerous other hobbies, interests, passions, etc. So anyway, I didn't really get a chance to look up and have any real recommendations and links to attach with this one. So we're just going to skip that part on this video. No offense intended towards my preferred YouTubers who I normally would recommend and post links to videos of theirs for cross-content, but I just have had enough of a harebrained time for the last couple weeks that I just decided to do this one a little bit more freeform and not get too far off into it. Anyway, if you enjoy this channel's content, please feel free to like, share, and subscribe, and please don't hesitate to leave any questions, comments, or suggestions down in the comment section below. You guys take care, have a wonderful Wednesday, and hopefully this channel and myself have helped to bring a little bit more magic into your lives. And hopefully we'll all see each other again in the next video.